What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? New show alert. We got a new season of Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta. Now, what's funny is that my DVR is saying it's season 2, episode 1, but I know it's season 3. Now, maybe they want to forget that they had a season 2, and they want to X that out of their memory, but I remember there was a season 2. Anyway, so this season, we know if you pay attention to what's going on or whatever, Zanique left, Reginae left, Brandon left. Was that it? Those 3 left the show. And so we have, they made Johnny Blaze a full-time member this season instead of like just somebody, I guess a friend of type status. Masika, excuse me, she left Love of Hip Hop Hollywood, so now she's going to be on here. Although she was not on this episode, but she's going to be there. Lil Mama, who wasn't on this episode, but she's going to be there. And I guess Bow Wow's girlfriend, because she has a lot of screen time and confessionals and everything else. So I'm going to say that, Bow Wow's girlfriend is going to be on the season. So, and Jermaine Dupri's daughter looks like she has a bigger role this year than, again, last year. She seemed more of a friend of type status, but it seems like she's sort of full-time. All right, so this episode, y'all know it's the first episode, so they just laying the groundwork for where we trying to go this season. So let's talk about it. We got Lil Bow Wow with a girlfriend, which if you follow the Instagram streets, they've been all over Instagram together. Although I think in real time they broke up, but for the purposes of the show, they were together. Excuse me. They met each other on Instagram. She was an Instagram model. And he hit her up in the DMs, invited her to one of his little, off-the-wall parties, and that's how things progressed from there. So we see the 2 of them. She seems to be sort of possessive. Okay, we'll get there. Then we have Miss Deb. Now, something else that was very interesting. If y'all follow these YouTube streets, you know the whole T.S. Madison Kaya situation that went down. Well, when Kaya spun off to do her own show, she started doing her show from the Ivory. Now, I don't think she's there anymore, or at least, I don't know, because I don't watch her show anymore, so I don't know. But I know she hadn't been there or had been inconsistently there. Well, come to find out that the Ivory, and y'all may already know this, I might be late to the show, is Deb Adney's spot. Well, at least she's a partner in that spot. Deb Adney, Waka Flocka's mom, and manager to some other notables, or former manager to some other notables. And so she's talking about the Ivory, how she's come on as a partner. They've changed the name because it used to be called the Blue Ivy, and now it's called just the Ivory, or was it the Blue Ivory? I don't know. But she said that, and I've seen it before. I just didn't know that's whose spot it was or what it was. So it's like interesting just making those connections, right? So she's having like a grand, I guess, a reopening of the renaming, the rebranding of the show and that kind of thing. I mean, of the spot. So that's happening. So that's going to be like y'all know they always like have events. So that's like the event of this episode. That'll be the climax of it. All right, a few other things, but we'll get there. Jermaine Dupri is being honored. He's being inducted into into the Writers Hall of Fame, not hip hop, the Writers Hall of Fame. And they said on this show that him and Jay-Z are the only 2 so far that are in there, which I think is a travesty, but okay. So he's being inducted, and then they're talking about the So So Def Tour. Now, it's funny because, again, in real time, the So So Def Tour is no more. But at the moment, when they were taping this, they were planning the tour, and Brat and Jermaine Dupri are having this conversation, and Brat's still mad at Bow Wow. She still thinks that Bow Wow she said, is just a little kid and needs to grow up or whatever. But come to find out that Jermaine Dupri originally had not even invited Bow Wow on the tour, and he wasn't on the flyers. And the Brat was like, well, he gonna be mad. And Jermaine Dupri was like, I don't really give a fuck. Like, at this point I just don't care. So they're talking about that. So that's gonna be some, I'm sure that's gonna be an issue down the line with the fact that Bow Wow's name wasn't on the flyer. He wasn't gonna be, or wasn't invited to the tour. Remember the last tour he went on when they did the reunion tour like 2 summers ago. He kept going on Instagram talking about how they wasn't getting paid and all this stuff that was going on the tour. So I don't blame Jermaine for saying, you know what, because I really don't need you on Instagram talking about my business. So then we see a scene with Lil Bow Wow's mom and his girlfriend meeting up. I guess it's their first time really meeting or really having an in-depth conversation. It can't be their first time meeting because Bow Wow and her live at his mama's house. Bow Wow's living with his mama. And the girlfriend, she's very comfortable. I don't know if she live there or not, but she downright comfortable there. But they're talking or whatever. And I just feel like, that whole conversation was inappropriate on both sides. First of all, she calling his mama by her first name. I just got a problem with that. First of all, you can't be no more than in your mid-20s. You don't call this woman by her first name, especially the mother of your boyfriend. It's Miss, or if you want to get, jiggy, mama, whatever. But you don't just be calling her by her first name like y'all girlfriends, like y'all know each other like that. So first of all, that rubbed me the wrong way. Second of all, the mama asking the girlfriend some questions that I think were a little personal, like asking them, what kind of birth control are they using. Now I understand her reason for asking, but I don't feel like that was your business. I just felt like that was inappropriate, and I don't know. I just felt like that wasn't appropriate. So then she invites, the girlfriend says, well, you can come on down to the studio. And she's talking about how the kind of music that her and Lil Bow Wow make is just inappropriate. And they talk about sex and they talk about this and talk about that. And so the mama was like, well, I just don't want to think about y'all having sex. You just asked them what kind of birth control they using? You got to be thinking about sex if you're thinking about birth control. Anyway. So she gonna come down to the studio, and then the girl gonna say, well, I don't really want her to come down to the studio because I don't want her to hear what I'm saying. You invited her. You didn't have to invite her to the studio. You didn't have to do that. Anyway, so cut over, we got Ayana, we got Shania. That's Jermaine Dupri's daughter. And Ayana's girlfriend. Remember, Ayana is DJ Hurricane's daughter, who's doing the clothing line. Remember last season she had the breast reduction. And her girlfriend seemed to be in a really good place. Remember first season, it seemed like her girlfriend didn't even want to claim her. Like, it was just some weird stuff going on. But they seem to be in a really good place this season. They're talking about moving in together. And she's claiming her, talking about she's a good wifey and all that. So I'm like, okay. So I'm happy for them. They seem to be in a really good place. So Ayana and Shania, I keep wanting to say Shaniqua, but that's not that baby name. Shania, they're talking about Lil Bow Wow because, of course, they're protective of him. They've known him all their whole life and stuff. And they're talking about the new girlfriend. And, of course, they see her twerking on Instagram and all of that. And so, of course, Ayana was like, oh, so that's what we doing? We just twerking? That's what we doing? So it's going to be that whole storyline with them being real overprotective of Bow Wow. So they end up going out to lunch together. And I'm sorry. They end up going out to lunch together where they can all meet. So it's Bow Wow, his girlfriend, Ayana, her girlfriend, and Shania and her boyfriend. And they seem to get along. They seem to kind of have a good moment where they get along with each other and everything seems to be cool. So that sort of worked out, right? Ayana ends up inviting them out to come to the opening at Deb Atney's spot, where they're going to come and for the grand opening. So that worked out. Then we see Bow Wow in the studio with the girlfriend. Now, the girlfriend does music. She said that's how they finally bonded, was over music. But she's supposedly rapping. Now, first of all, he said when I first heard her voice, it was beautiful. So I would assume she was a singer. But then we see her rapping, and she's horrible. Like, she is horrible. She's mumbling her words. And then, of course, everything out her mouth is, I'll suck his dick. I fucked this bitch. I did that. It's one thing to be raunchy. It's something else to be raunchy with no rhyme or reason for the raunchiness. You know what I'm saying? So they in the studio, and Bow Wow is like really, he being real Ike Turner with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to talk louder. You got to be clear. That is some trash. That is some garbage. If you're going to be in the studio, you got to be right. Da-da-da-da-da. And, of course, now she mad. Don't talk to me like that. You're making me even more nervous. Your mother's already coming down here. And, of course, Bow Wow was pissed off about his mother coming down here because he was like, I don't want my mother to hear this music. Like, this music we're making is really raunchy. That's not the kind of music I want my mother to hear. Like, that's just not it. Then the mama comes in, and she's, not only is it raunchy, but it's bad raunchy. Like, Trina raunchy, but Trina good raunchy. You know what I'm saying? Lil' Kim raunchy, but she good raunchy. This was bad raunchy. So, Of course, Bow Wow mom was sitting there, and Bow Wow was like, now how was Sam? And his mother trying to be real nice and polite. Bow Wow was like, see, that's that bullshit. He was like, when I was a kid, you didn't hold no cut cards. You let me have it. He was like, shit, you gave me a spanking if I ain't hold the microphone right. But you know good and well she sound like some trash right now. And you sitting here talking about something, it sound pretty good. Now, I hear where you coming from, Bow Wow. You wanted your mother to come in there with a producer's eye. Because I believe his mother was his manager at one time. So you want her to come in there with that ear. She came in there with maybe mama-in-law, future mama-in-law ear. She ain't trying to get in the middle of y'all argument. Now, if she was just straight up coming in there as someone listening to talent and there was no relationship between the two of y'all, she probably could have given a different opinion. But she was coming there as, you know, mama-in-law type stuff. She ain't trying to get in the middle of that bullshit. And it was clear that there was an argument from day one. It was clear that y'all was mad at each other from the word get. So we got a nothing scene between Deb Adney and Ayanna where they basically talking about Brandon and how they ain't speaking to Brandon. So my thing is, maybe Brandon is going to come back on the show, because my thing is, why even bring him up? If he's not going to be a part of the show, why even bring him up? So, okay, that was pretty much it. So we get to the end. We have Ayanna, we have Shania, and we have Bow Wow girlfriend, whose name I forget right now. They came to the Ivory to come and enjoy the show. Ayanna gets there first. She, you know, goes and speaks to her dad. Her dad's there, and they talking. Come to find out, Johnny Blaze is going to perform. So Ayanna was like, this is what I love about this particular scene, because this scene was authentic. This wasn't no, I mean, the scene itself was probably set up, but I'm talking about, because Ayanna was like, well, hold up. I don't want her, she was like, I got Shania and I got Bow Wow's girlfriend coming up here, and I don't want them to think that I set them up. Like, I didn't know Johnny Blaze was performing, and at first I was like, why would it matter? But, of course, Bow Wow has a form of relationship with Johnny Blaze. And, remember, Johnny Blaze tore up Jermaine Dupri's studio last season, which is Shania's dad. So her thing was, I don't know how they feel about her. Like, I don't know what kind of feelings they got about Johnny Blaze, and I don't want them to feel like I set them up. So what she did exactly what she should have done. As soon as they got there, she told them, look, Johnny Blaze is going to be here performing. I did not do this on purpose. I did not set y'all up. I didn't know she was going to be here. I apologize. If y'all want to leave, I understand. See, that's how you supposed to handle that shit. You know, lesser reality shows would have let that shit drag out and had Ayanna in the corner like, I don't know. Hope they don't find out. I don't know what to tell them. But no, she was a woman about it and was like, look, Johnny Blaze about to sing. My bad. And if y'all want to go somewhere else, we can roll. But they were like, nah, you know, I'm just here to have a good time. You know, Bow Wow's girlfriend was like, look, I don't have no problem with his past as long as his past don't don't affect our future. That was the right answer. Cool. And Shania was like, I mean, I know she tore my daddy's studio up, but I'm just here to have a good time. Now, the other little side story, I'm sorry I didn't touch that. Shania is mad at her father, so that might be another reason why she wasn't really tripping. She's mad at Jermaine Dupri because she feels like he didn't do enough to help her with her clothing line when she was telling him she wanted to start her own clothing line, and he was kind of putting some parameters on her, and she felt like were a little. I think she felt like because of who her father was, that he shouldn't make her go through certain things, that he should just be like, here, oh, you want to do a clothing line? Here's a check. And he was like, nah, like, I'm going to treat you just like I'm going to treat anybody else. You got to bring me this, you got to bring me that. Like, he knew language that I didn't even know. And I don't think she did what he asked her to do. And so she's mad because she felt like he should have done something else for her. But I'm sure in his mind, he was like, you're my daughter, and yes, that's going to afford you certain things, but you also need to understand business, and you need to understand how business works, and I'm not just going to throw you a check just because. So, Johnny Blaze shows up. She rolls up in there, you know, she got on her little white outfit and everything, honey, and she's there to perform. Like, this is her night. You know, Deb Acne done set it up that she's got the stage and she's going to perform. She comes walking in, she speaks to them, they speak back, hey girl, hey girl, you know, no problem, it was no issues. And next thing you know, like literally, it wasn't even 2 minutes later, there's a fight. Well, come to find out, Johnny Blaze is there with some other people that don't like her. she clearly is making enemies all over Atlanta. And she gets into it with them and proceeds to start trying to fight them. And I mean, honey, her breast then fell out because, the dress was halfway covering her up anyway. So once security gets to holding her, the breast then fell out. She throwing shit from the bar. She throwing bottles. She's chasing. Like, she is like a wild cat, like a Tasmanian devil, honey. And tears the whole damn club up. And of course, Deb is like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Now, for a fight to be going down, nobody really seemed to be that concerned about it. So I don't know if that is that we just got so many folk that's used to that shit, like that type of shit going down, or if everybody just knew it was about to go down and nobody was really reacting like they should have. Because when I tell you that people were sitting around like, oh, it's a fight. Oh, all right. Yo, can you get my drink though? Can I pay? Can I pay now? Okay, you gonna run the tab? Oh, they still fighting? Oh, all right. You just gonna run a tab. Okay, cool. I was like, why are we not acting like this chick ain't running through the club throwing shit all over the place? And of course, Deb is pissed off because Deb is like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? She said, I was upstairs trying to get dressed to get ready to start the event to come down. And I started hearing all this shit going on. And when I say Johnny kicked off them shoes, honey, I mean, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. DJ Hurricane was like, yo, this ain't how I roll. Let me just pay my bill and let me get the fuck out of here. Like, it was ridiculous. It was just absolutely ridiculous, y'all. And that's where the episode ended. So, we'll see what happens this week. We'll see how it go down.